It started innocently enough. A weekend camping trip to escape the noise of the city. I'd been to this forest before, years ago, with friends. But something about it felt different now. Something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I arrived late in the afternoon, the sun still hovering just above the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows through the trees. I set up my tent by a small creek, the water gurgling softly. I built a fire. Everything was quiet, almost too quiet. The kind of silence that presses in on you, wrapping around your senses like a thick fog. I ate a quick meal and then decided to take a long walk along the edge of the creek, letting the cool air brush against my face. The woods felt dense and alive, but also watchful. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was out there, hidden between the trees, lurking just beyond the edge of my vision. As I walked, I noticed something odd. The further I ventured, the more the woods seemed to grow darker. It was still daylight, but the shadows around me grew thick, almost tangible. I turned to head back to the campsite, but that's when I heard it, the unmistakable sound of footsteps crunching softly through the underbrush behind me. I froze, my heart hammering in my chest. I turned slowly, expecting to see someone, another camper maybe, but there was nothing, not a soul in sight. The woods were empty. I shrugged it off, telling myself it was just an animal, but the feeling of being watched wouldn't leave me. It gnawed at the back of my mind like an incessant whisper. I hurried back to the campsite, where the fire was still burning strong. I tried to settle down, but the crackling of the fire seemed too loud now, too intrusive. The shadows were around me, growing longer, stretching like fingers, reaching out from the trees. That's when I saw it. At the edge of the firelight, just beyond the reach of the flames, I saw a figure. It was tall, impossibly tall, standing perfectly motionless between two trees. I couldn't make out any features, only the silhouette, pale, with a strange, unnatural shimmer to it. I blinked, and it was gone, just like that. I tried to rationalize it. My eyes were playing tricks on me. The shadows, the firelight. It was nothing. But then I heard it again. The footsteps. Soft, deliberate, as if someone was walking in a circle around me. I strained my ears, trying to pinpoint the sound. It was coming from all directions, just beyond the firelight. I grabbed my flashlight and shined it into the darkness. The beam flickered across the trees, but there was nothing there. No animals, no movement, just trees and shadows. But when I turned back to the fire, I saw it again. The figure, closer now. It was standing just beyond the light, still watching me. My pulse quickened. I shouted into the darkness, hoping to scare off whoever or whatever was out there. But the figure didn't move. It just stood there, its presence heavy in the air, like it was waiting for something. I grabbed my things, ready to pack up and leave. But as I stood up, I froze. The figure wasn't just standing anymore. It was moving, slowly, like it was gliding across the ground. Its movements too smooth, too unnatural. It didn't walk, it drifted, like smoke in the wind, shifting between trees, getting closer. I could feel it now, inside my mind, watching, waiting. My stomach twisted with a cold, deep fear. I backed away, stumbling over the roots, trying to escape the grip of that terrible gaze. I heard a whisper, soft but unmistakable.
You shouldn't have come.
I froze again, my breath catching in my throat. The voice, so close now, was wrong. It didn't sound human. It was cold, empty, hollow. The air itself seemed to freeze around me. I shined my flashlight in its direction, my hands trembling. The beam flickered and died. Panic surged through me as I fumbled with the flashlight, desperately trying to get it to work, but of course it wouldn't. I turned to run, but I didn't make it far. I stumbled and fell, landing hard against the cold forest floor. As I looked up, I saw the figure standing directly above me, its pale, shimmering form towering over me like a shadow made of flesh. It leaned down, its face inches from mine. I couldn't see its features, but I could feel its cold, oppressive presence, like it was pressing down on my chest, suffocating me.
You shouldn't have come here.
The voice whispered again, and this time I felt it in my bones. a chill that spread through my entire body. I gasped for air, unable to breathe, paralyzed by the weight of its gaze. Then, as quickly as it happened, the figure was gone. The cold lifted, the weight disappeared. I was alone again, lying in the dirt, gasping for air. I didn't wait to see if it would come back. I scrambled to my feet, heart racing, and ran, blindly, desperately, back toward the campsite. But when I got there, the fire was out. The campsite was empty, and the last thing I heard before the darkness swallowed me whole was that voice, whispering one final time.
You're still here.
And then, nothing. It's late. I can tell because the only light I've seen for miles is from the dim glow of the dashboard. I'm in the middle of nowhere, with nothing but endless dark stretches of road and the occasional silhouette of a tree, a rocky mountain line. My RV sputters and coughs, finally lurching to a halt. My engine dies, and I'm left with the sound of wind rustling through the trees and the distant hum of the highway. Great. Just great. I've been driving for hours, headed towards some small town that's probably as dead as the road I'm on. But now, I'm stranded here, miles away from anything that could be considered help. I open the door and step out into the cool night, the air thick with the smell of pine and earth. The moon is hidden behind a cloud, and everything feels wrong. There's an unnatural silence in the air, like even the insects have decided to stay quiet. I dig through the RV's toolbox and grab my flashlight, praying I'll find some issue I can fix myself. The engine doesn't make any sense. It's not like it just overheated. It sounds like something broke. I start poking around under the hood, praying I can figure out something simple like a loose wire or a busted fuse. Then I hear it. The sound of tires crunching over gravel, followed by the slow rumble of an engine. I straighten up, my heart pounding a little harder now. I hadn't heard anyone driving for what felt like forever. My eyes dart around in the dark, and before I can even process it, a pair of headlights appear from behind the trees, blinding me for a moment. A truck stops about 10 feet away, and a figure emerges from it. The man's tall, maybe in his late 30s, with wild, unkempt hair and a long, thick jacket that flaps around his legs as he walks towards me. His face is shadowed, but there's something about the way he carries himself, like he's not just passing by, like he's hunting. "Need a hand?" he calls out, his voice rough, like it hasn't been used much. I hesitate, glancing at the RV. There's no way I can fix it in the dark, and I definitely can't drive it with a busted engine. My stomach twists. I don't want to rely on some stranger, but I don't have much of a choice. Yeah, my engine just died, I say, trying to keep my voice steady, but I can hear the slight tremor in it. I don't know what's wrong with it. The man takes a few slow steps closer, and I feel a cold shiver run down my spine. Something about the way it's looking at me. It's unsettling. His eyes are too intense, too focused. "Not a problem," he says, his smile stretched unnaturally wide. "I know these roads. I'll take a look for you." I swallow hard, trying not to let the unease take over. "Thanks," I manage to say, taking a step back as he leans down, peering into the engine bay, like he knows exactly what he's looking for. I turn back to the RV, trying to keep my distance, but my nerves are getting the best of me. Every second that passes feels heavier, more oppressive. The air seems to press in around me. I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched, even when I try not to look back at the truck. Then I hear the man's voice again. It's lower now, almost a whisper, like he's trying to lure me in. "You're a long way from the city, aren't you? Not many people come this way." I try to ignore the sense of dread creeping at my spine. "Just passing through," I say, my voice tight. "I'll be fine. I'll call a tow truck." There's a pause, and then he laughs, a low, guttural sound. "Towing's expensive. Not sure if you'll have enough cash for that." I feel a chill roll through me, and I take another step back, heart hammering in my chest. Something is wrong. Something's very wrong. He stands up slowly, wipes his hands on his pants, and steps closer to me. The air around him feels thicker, colder, almost like it's seeping into my bones. "I can give you a ride," he says, voice dripping with something dark. "There's a small place just up the road. I can help you there. You look like you could use the company." I shake my head quickly, hands trembling as I clutch the flashlight tighter. "I'm fine. I'll wait for a tow. Really, I'm fine." He reaches out and grabs my arm with a strength that's terrifyingly effortless. "You're not waiting for anyone." His voice drops into something low, predatory. "You'll come with me." I try to pull away, but his grip tightens, sending panic flooding through me. This wasn't just a good Samaritan. This was a trap, a sick, twisted game. "Let go of me," I scream, yanking harder, but he's too strong. His laugh grows louder, crueler. "Shh, shh, quiet," he murmurs, dragging me toward the truck, my feet stumbling over the uneven ground. "Don't worry, you'll get some rest soon. After all, you can't be out here all alone. It's dangerous." The words hit me like a slap, and I realize he's done this before. My heart races as my mind scrambles for any chance of escape, but everything is too late. The world around me blurs, my vision narrowing as I struggle to breathe through the panic, my body fighting against the pull of his grip. With every ounce of strength, I scream, but the sound is swallowed by the darkness. It was supposed to be a peaceful weekend. Just my brother Matt and I, out in the woods to escape the chaos of our daily lives. We had set up camp early in the afternoon, the sun filtering through the trees, casting shadows on the forest floor. It felt like the perfect escape, until night fell. We built a small fire, roasted marshmallows and swapped stories. The woods were alive with the sound of crickets and a rustling of leaves. The sky above was a deep navy, the stars piercing through like tiny distant eyes. But as the fire dwindled and the night deepened, something about the forest seemed off. Matt had fallen asleep early, his steady breathing coming from the other side of the tent, but I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was watching us. I tried to ignore it at first, telling myself it was just the nerves of being out in the wilderness. But the wind picked up, sending a chill through the tent. The trees creaked and groaned in the gusts, and I pulled the sleeping bag tighter around me. That's when I heard it. A twig snapping in the distance. I held my breath, listening. There it was again, another snap, followed by a rustle. Not an animal, no. This was too deliberate, too human. I slowly turned my head to where Matt was sleeping. His face was peaceful, unaware of the creeping dread settling in my chest. I reached over and shook him gently. "Matt," I whispered, my voice tight. "Wake up." He stirred, mumbling something unintelligible before blinking his eyes open. "What's wrong?" "Shh, listen." He paused, listening to the night. At first he couldn't hear anything, but then the snap of a branch. Closer this time, his expression shifted from confusion to concern. "Someone's out there," he muttered, his voice low. I nodded, my heart pounding. "I think so. We need to stay quiet. Don't move." We both lay still, straining to hear anything that might give us a clue about who or what was out there. For a few minutes, all I could hear was the wind, but then came the faint sound of breathing. Slow, deliberate. There wasn't the wind. There wasn't an animal. I could feel Matt's body tense beside me. "What do we do?" he whispered. "We wait," I said. "Just stay quiet." I grabbed the flashlight, holding it tightly in my hand, but I didn't dare turn it on. Not yet. We couldn't risk revealing our location. Then, through the thin fabric of the tent, I saw something. A shadow moving, barely visible in the moonlight. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up. It was too tall, too strange. Whoever it was, they were circling our camp. My mind raced. Why? What did they want? The figure stopped, standing motionless just beyond the reach of the firelight. I could feel the air growing colder, as if the presence was sucking all of the warmth from the night. I couldn't even hear the footsteps anymore. "Matt," I whispered, my voice barely a breath. "Do you have the knife?" "Yeah, but I don't think it's going to help much," he replied, his voice tight with fear. We had no cell service, no way to call for help. It was just us and whatever was out there. The shadow moved again, closer to the tent. I could see the outline of something, a figure hunched over, creeping, low. It wasn't human. I could tell that much. A sharp, guttural laugh echoed from the trees. My stomach dropped. We weren't alone, and whoever or whatever this was, it wasn't here for a friendly chat. My heart raced. Matt and I exchanged a glance, both knowing what we had to do. There was no running. We couldn't leave the tent without drawing attention. But staying here, trapped, vulnerable, that felt like a death sentence. I had to act. I reached over to the zipper of the tent. Slowly, cautiously, I began to pull it open just enough for a glimpse of the outside. The figure was still there, closer now. I could see a face, pale, gaunt, eyes wide and staring directly at me. It grinned. I yanked the zipper back, sealing us inside. "Matt, we need to go now." He nodded, scrambling for his backpack. We had to move, but I knew we couldn't just run out into the dark. That would be a death sentence. I grabbed a flashlight, turning it on. The beam sliced through the tent, briefly illuminating the figure outside. I saw it step forward, its silhouette twisting unnaturally, like it wasn't made to be human. I couldn't breathe. "Matt, on 3, we run. We make it to the truck. Ready?" He nodded, his face pale but determined. 1, 2, 3. I threw open the tent, bolting out into the night, my feet slapping against the cold, damp ground. Matt was right behind me, his breath coming in short, panicked gasps. We didn't look back, didn't dare. The truck was 100 yards away, but it felt like a mile. The forest seemed alive, the trees closing in around us. Every step, every sound felt like it was the last. We reached the truck, diving inside. I slammed the door shut, panting, the engine roaring to life. Without a second thought, I put it in drive and slammed the gas pedal down. We didn't stop until we hit the main road. Even then, I kept glancing over my shoulder, half expecting to see that figure in the rearview mirror, but all I saw was the empty stretch of road behind us. Matt didn't say anything for a while, just staring at the window. Finally, he turned to me, his voice hoarse. "Do you think it followed us?" I didn't know how to answer that. I wasn't sure what I saw up there, but whatever it wasn't done with us. Not yet. I gripped the wheel tighter. There was no turning back now. We were getting out of here for tonight.